Hello, this is Patrick, one of the wild guys. This is my YouTube intro and some of the wild guys with me. We will be canoeing and rafting rivers and lakes and even out in a little bit of the Pacific Ocean in Northwest Territories, the Yukon and British Columbia. This will be series number 1.5. We'll be continuing on through the Yukon, and we're going to be going through the Five Finger Rapids and the Rink Rapids. It's going to be a great video. We're very happy to have you along with us. Video 1.5 will be living little salmon, and we'll be carrying on down the Yukon. We have a camper on that island.
I just heard a little bit of information. That graveyard we just filmed is the oldest Indian graveyard in this country. Right, Bill?
Right. You've seen that graveyard on
salmon.
series number 1.
Just zoom in a little bit. Get a building or two back here somewhere.
George Carmack on August 16th, 1896, while camping near the Rabbit Creek, his buddies that he had with him was the Tagish Charlie and Skookum Jim, and he spotted a piece of gold that was on the creek bed. 2 years later, there was 50,000 would-be miners arrived in the region. The rest is all history. The gold find was on Rabbit Creek, but in respect to all of the millions of dollars that was taken from Rabbit Creek and the area around it, they changed the name to Bonanza Creek. We won't forget the name of that creek.
Sort of a relaxing trip.
It don't look like that Glenn got the gold fever. He's laying it pretty cool right now. Maybe that's because we haven't quite made it to Bonanza Creek yet. We're just going down from Little Salmon, but keeping our eye open.
This is a back shot. Okay.
Probably an ice truck though. Hey Pat. Howdy Pat.
How you doing?
Hey, man. You're looking so good in your whites up there, big guy.
How's this guy over my shoulder doing?
Hey, I don't know if I'm in the camera, but I'm paddling here, Pat.
Looks like one of those German.
We stopped on the island here to have a snack and a little bit of a break. And when we got on the island, we seen some pretty fresh tracks. Holy, them are grizzly tracks. Huh. I wonder if we're going to eat or he's going to eat. But anyways, we had to put up with these grizzlies quite a few times. But anyways, we decided that we're going to eat and we're going to stay on the island. And if he wants to stay with us, that's okay too, just as long as he packs his own lunch. That's all we were concerned about at that particular time.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not too worried. I know you guys be running too, so. Sometime we're going to have a nervous lunch here.
I wasn't worried about outrunning the grizzly. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just looking at the wild guys there, and I was just wondering if there's one of them I could outrun, because if I could outrun one of them, then probably they'd have to deal with the grizzly. I'd be just heading for the canoe.
We're just about ready to roll. We stopped in and had lunch. Told a few bear stories. Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Pat. We've had a vote, and we all want to go home.
Want to go? Is that ready?
Who's your pet?
My pet rock.
Yeah, get your.
Yeah, you got to get my canoe upside down. You got to turn it the other way around.
Oh, there. There's
There.
your
Whoops.
rock. See, it looks.
Yeah, I was a little bit late here getting this picture. There were some birds, some friendly birds that dive bombed these guys. There they are, on their pack and so forth.
We got shat upon.
I'll see if I can get one of the birds. What do you call them birds again? That guy told us. With a forked tail?
Evie.
Must have little babies here. Well, we're leaving Carmack on our 5th day. Just taking a little bit of a picture of Carmack because I didn't get much last night. Not a big town, 400 and some people. And the other crew is quite a ways down in front of us. There's the other one.
These are the Arctic terns that just pooped on Glenn and Mark. The Arctic tern is very famous for its migration. It will go up to 25,000 miles. I've seen even up to 30,000 miles in its migration. The Arctic tern can fly up to 6,000 miles at a time without stopping. Can you imagine our electric car, how many times we'd have to charge that sucker up before we could make the 6,000 miles? The Arctic tern has the longest migration of any bird, up to 35,000 kilometers each year. I guess the Arctic tern went metric as well.
Okay, we got two guys really excited about, well, I think they're excited. You guys excited about going through there? Hey, Glenn! Okay, good. Now I'll try to find that little hole where we're going through. There's a number of... The right, eh? Okay. Holy. There we go.
Hand holding a video camera in a canoe, bouncing up and down. Very, very difficult to do. So we're going to lose a lot of what is coming up. We're going through the Five Finger Rapids right now. I can already tell that this is going to be a real challenge because with the canoe going up and down, even though we're not really even in the rapids now, we are getting all kinds of movement, and I doubt that I get much of a movie at all here because obviously we still got to get the canoe through, and we don't really want to be swimming, so we've got to look after that, number one. And I can tell that the camera is water 1 second and sky the next, and that's all I'm getting is water and sky when I was in the rapids, so we had to cut it all out. Well, Billy told me just to make sure I get the picture and put the paddle down and just hang on to the camera. And we're going through that narrow part, and that's where the water, the rapids will really come. It's getting... You can see the water is starting to rough up here now, but once you get into the rapids, certainly they're over a foot, and we're going to be taking on water. And so I'm going to be hanging on to the camera or hanging on into the canoe, one or the other, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to be
There's our other partners, they're coming through now.
In hindsight, we should have sent one canoe through that had the camera and find a place that they could set up so they could take pictures of the other canoes coming through. But you know what they say about hindsight. Well, it's calmed down enough on the other side of the rapids that I'm now trying to get a little bit of a shot of the canoes, and I'm still running from water to canoe to sky. It's still very difficult, but at least it'll give you a little bit of a sense of the movement we had. You'll probably notice from the picture we're quite a ways down from where the rapids were, and you can see in behind us where the canyon was that we went through. So it shot us through there pretty fast, and so in a very short period of time we're going to be trying to bail the water out of our canoe and trying to see what we could get water out of it that might do some damage like some of the other electronics and picture print cameras. I picked up some pictures from years back when the stampeders were coming through, and they had cameras set up above so they could get to show you what it is. It'll give you a bit of an idea of what the Five Fingers is like going through there. They have blasted it somewhat and improved the area since, but it's still got some rapids in there that you'll have to be careful with. When we come through with ours, we took on quite a bit of water, although we didn't really have a great bit of difficulty coming through. We were okay. Stay on the right side going downstream.
Well, we're moving right along.
Moving right along.
You can tell Bob's paddling hard.
Give him a little history here, Pat.
The name for the Five Finger Rapids came from the fact that there was 4 islands that split the river into 5 channels. And the rapids were a danger to the gold seekers during the Klondike Gold Rush. And the paddle wheelers, I know one of them that I was reading about, actually they crashed there and they lost a bunch of, I think it was cows they lost at that particular time. So they were quite a danger for those going up and down the Yukon River.
Rapids.
We're waiting for another rapid, eh? A good one coming up.
Yeah.
I'll try and do a better job on this one.
Well, I had to make a beep down here because there was something that needed to be beeped out.
That's a portage sign. Means get your boat out of the water.
Well, we're going to have to stop someplace down here and try and dry out all our stuff, and especially try and get the water out of our cameras and different things like that. Some of them were in the bottom of the canoe below the water, floating around down there. As long as you stay on the right hand side, you should be safe. But you'd have to have something else set up to really get a good video of going through. Ours didn't work, too rough. The paddle wheelers were winched through the Five Fingers for their safety and the safety of their passengers and cargo. Even with the precautions that they made, they lost a paddle wheeler in there and they lost a bunch of cows on one that they had problems with. And so even though it looks fairly calm there, it's pretty rough in behind that. So they had a lot of difficulty in that particular area getting through. Plus they lost a lot of cargo.
We should get a picture.
Shaking the water out of it now.
Let
They're
me-
both submerged in about 6 inches of water after
After the slides?
waves hit us.
Or after the rapids?
They'll dry out. Not as fast as we will.
What's that what's that Mark snorting on back there?
It's a straight
Vodka and creme de menthe.
You get the water out of your camera?
Mine?
Pretty wet in there. Pretty wet.
Well, you got that camera.
Getting ready for some more rapids here. You'll see the white water coming up ahead. They're starting to stretch apart a little bit here. They're going to squeeze out of the picture.
As we get to the second set of rapids, I was hoping to have a good plan so we get a good video. I just don't know what the plan is. If the boat's going up and down and I'm in the boat, how is that camera going to stay steady? I'm not sure. But we're going to try something different anyways. I don't know what something is though.
Okay, we'll be going into the rapids fairly soon here.
I think I got a plan now. I think my plan is I'm hoping that these rapids will not be as rough. So I guess that's my plan. Does that sound like a very good plan?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. They were supposed to be going through the rapids. They went into the weeds.
Okay, the other side, Glenn.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and take pictures while we're away from the rapids a ways, where we're smooth and it's rough. Well, that worked for a few minutes. Back in 1887, a land surveyor at that time was doing the mapping of the territory. His name was Frederick Schwatka, back in 1883. And Schwatka seemed to have a knack to name everything he saw. I don't know if he had the authority to do that, but it worked for him. And he called them the Rink Rapids. Now, why would Schwatka call them the Rink Rapids? Well, he knew a Dr. Henry Rink. He was a Danish guy, and he had some authority in Greenland, but he had absolutely no authority in the Yukon or knew anything about it. But that didn't prevent Schwatka from using his name to name the Rink Rapids. Well, the first plan didn't work out too bad, actually. We got rapids that were not as rough, so that really helped out a great deal. And some tried to sneak out around the edge near the shore there. They could have picked the leaves off the trees. I turned down the sound of the water roaring because otherwise you couldn't hear what I was saying or understand what I was saying. Now that we've gone through the second set of rapids, there's no more rapids to go through. So we'll carry on till we find a place that we can camp at a little bit further down. And when we do that, we'll get everything out and dried out and see if we can dry out the cameras that do prints and I've got to also do some work on the video camera. We picked up a wee bit of water there as well. It don't take much for this video camera to, it's very sensitive with water. So we'll get things cleaned up this evening. I think we want to also have a movie night if we can later on, if anything works, and that's the plan. After leaving our camping spot here where we're stopping for a while, we're going to be looking forward and watching for Minto. We're going to go into Minto and we'll give you some information on Minto. Now, what are we going to expect when we get to Minto? Well, I found out that Minto is in the western part of the traditional Tanana Athabascan territory, and during the late 1800s, some members of the nomadic Minto band traveled to Tanana Rampart and the Fort Yukon to trade furs and manufactured goods and tea and flour. After gold was discovered north of Fairbanks in 1902, steamboats began to travel on the Tanana River, bringing goods and people into the area. Old Minto on the banks of the Tanana River became a permanent settlement when some members of the Minto band built log cabins there. Other families lived there seasonally in tents. A school was established there in 1937, but most families still did not live in Minto year-round until the 1950s. The people from the Minto band were eventually joined by families from Niana and Toklat, Crossjacket, and China. After all that information about Minto, it sort of made us hungry. So we're going to be stopping in pretty soon and making ourselves a lunch and get some food, and then we'll carry on down the Yukon River, watching out for Minto, our next stop.
Well, we stopped for lunch right after going through the two rapids. First rapid was pretty good, short. I wasn't really set up to capture the action there, but second rapids we were, but there wasn't much for rapids. So we're going to have lunch here now on this little island, and then we'll carry on. And that's where the table is. It's like Bob found something good there.
The wild guys are busy now preparing lunch for us. I wished I could help them out there, but you know, I have to handle this camera, and that's a pretty stressful job as well. But I'm looking forward to their lunch. Well, I'll just take a few little bit of video here about them making ourselves some lunch. That should put something on the ribs and give us some energy, and we'll be able to keep paddling. I don't think we got any more rapids all the way into Dawson City, so we're going to be okay. But it was fun going through the rapids as well, just that we weren't counting on getting wet and weren't counting on having some of our cameras go down. We do have 2 print cameras and 1 video camera.
With our 5 fingers, we got some water in one of our films, so we couldn't watch that one. Almost got some water in the camera, but we're up and going again. Tough night there for John. He just got finished singing a song, but he's not singing anymore, but we might be able to get him singing a little bit later on. There's Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
Hi, Pat. You go home now.
And there's the trail boss.
Just
Hi, boss.
doing dishes like always.
Oh, is that right?
Just like
real
that.
domestic.
Just like at home.
Yeah. Real domestic, that Bill.
Somebody just snuck into that tent, I think. Glenn went for a walk. Boss is going down to our little stash. Get something out of there.
I noticed that we got some flickering in the camera. I guess we picked up a little bit of water at 5 finger.
We got things drying out on top of the tent there. A lot of our papers and guidebooks and stuff like that got wet. But with the sun shining so long, we should be alright. Should get her dried out eventually. Rain stopped. We put the canoes to bed for the night.
Hi, this is Pat. You've probably wondered what Pat's looks like. He's the guy that's been behind the camera for all of this trip. Right now he's sitting down getting himself a cup of tea. Pat, tell us a little bit about yourself. And your sunglasses.
I worked very hard on the paddle, and I keep my sunglasses on behind me so that the guy that's behind me thinks I'm watching him. I'll give you a demonstration here.
Here, he's gonna.
Oh, my sunglasses are gone.
Hey, just hang on a second. He's going for the hat. The hat's going on. The hat's going on. And now he's going to do the sunglasses trick for you. There you go. This is slick.
John, do you know which type of
See, the
cheese
guy that's supposed to be rowing behind me,
I think it's
I can
gone.
watch either this way or I keep an eye on him to the back too.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I think
You might be interested to know that when we first saw this, we were amazed.
So that's our solar panel. It's been keeping us in power all the way along. I'll just zoom in on the solar panel. It's a handy little thing. 11 o'clock, it's still pumping power in. Oh, too far there. I just got it laying on the top of a canoe right now, 11 o'clock. And so you say at 11 o'clock, where's the sun? Well, there's the sun.
Our solar panel thing that we sort of improvised and made ourselves worked very well. Not only did we have the 8, 9, 10 days, whatever we were on the Yukon River, we have power, but we were even taking evening and we watched our movies, as rough as they were, that evening. So we had lots of power.
Bob's taking some stuff back. Got things hanging up to dry in different places. And sort of messed us up, that rain. But it wasn't a bad rain, and we were here and we were well protected. And they're scrambling around and getting some breakfast. John's making me some milk for my granola. He's just shaking her up there now. Give her a good shake, John.
When you got powdered products like powdered milk, you just have to add water, shake it, and you got it. You don't have to worry about it spoiling, and it's not heavy to transport.
Tents are still up. What's that we coming down to? One come down.
We'll be keeping our eyes out for minto. We're going to drop in there for a while. You have to really watch carefully when you're looking for an area you want to stop in or something you want to see, because if you allow yourself to go by it, you turn around and you got to paddle upstream. It's a lot harder to go upstream, so we're going to keep our eye out carefully for minto. Looks like the wild guys must have had a good sleep last night. They look like they're wide awake here this morning.
Guess what? We think we just drifted by Minto.
What's all this stuff down here?
Look at the map.
That might be just the campground, because Minto didn't have an island in front of it, did it?
No, that's,
It has on just
that's a campground. What's this on the right down here?
There's a little discussion over whether that's a campground or that's Minto. What do you think there, Mark?
Well, I think Minto's still ahead.
Minto's still ahead, okay.
I think so too. There was a gas station in Minto.
We won't tell those guys until I get over there anyway.
Bill put his GPS away and got the guidebook out, so we should be okay now.
Looks like a ferry down there. We aren't certain yet.
Looks kind of encouraging because there's you can see some buildings and stuff around here now. Well, we did it. We are coming right into Minto now. We see some activity here right on the shore.
Well, we got a small grizzly we found along the way.
Nice dog.
We've seen signs.
Heading into the bush right now.
His father's a purebred black lab, and his mom was a husky shepherd wolf.
This lady is coming down in a houseboat. I'll give you a picture of the houseboat in a minute.
Our Bella.
You call it Bella?
Yeah, River Raft Bella.
River Raft Bella.
The dog? I thought it was Spanky.
No, the Spanky's the dog.
Oh,
Spanky's the
the
dog.
What are
Okay.
you going to do with the raft when you get...
Well, this is a houseboat that's heading downstream as well. They're just parked in here for a little rest. It's a houseboat, a tent on it, nice wall tent. There's a camping spot. I guess we won't get anything here. Can you read that at all? I hope so. Well, we got some water here. Sounds good anyways. Okay, John's gonna run the pump.
It works.
Yeah. Got his, just a cranking that old handle. You gotta put a nickel in though, I think, John. You gotta put a nickel in, I think. Nothing's coming.
There she be.
There we go! Water! Woohoo!
For your protection, boil water.
Use-
Somebody got that.
What was them instructions again?
Well, right here on the sign. It says,
I got the sign.
it says drink this at your peril.
Oh, okay.
Strictly for tourists, the locals would never drink this.
Yeah.
And boil it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes, okay. Oh, they're meeting a deal here. They sure quit talking in a hurry when that dog come on. They're heading down to some sort of a store down here, I think. I'm trailing them. They thought they left me behind, but I'm sneaking along anyway. Stumbling a bit here and there. My eye to this view lens. Those boys went in here to hide on me. Bill and Mark are over there, just doing a little bit of shopping. Oh, that's not John.
Pictures.
Pardon?
We talked about earlier many of the First Nations that come into Minto, and either they had log cabins or a lot of them stayed in tents. Can you imagine in the Yukon having you and your family throughout the winter in a tent? I used to travel on the Cassiar Highway up to Cassiar. Often I'd find a man and a woman that were living in a tent alongside of a lake, and they were living off the fish during the winter.
These are a group of dogs.
This is a little local store. I had to stick around and keep an eye on Mark and Bill. They didn't do any shoplifting here. And this is here our first class service. So you're going to university where?
Hopefully University of Victoria.
Aha! Oh, we got one of our parties from Victoria. So, Glenn. Well, we got another sign. A couple of flags flapping up there. I'll give you a little chance to read that one. We'll drop down and get the other one just a little bit below it. I don't know if you can read that one or not. We'll suck in that one. There it is. And we had a soccer game along the way. Whoop. I missed. Can't see it. Oh, I got it.
Get past. We take to the defender that he might cut his toe. He's only got thongs on.
And Mark has got a clean breakaway. Mark is going to take off. He's going to go out in a dead run. Oh, Bill just got a shot. Almost got in the left corner. Ah, goalie stopped and kicked it back. Excitement is building here. Here goes Mark again with another kick. I got. Well, we're almost done here, so we'll be moving on shortly. But at least we got it. Well, I'm going to start from the water. Oh, I got my shades on just a sec here. Okay, there we go. I wanted to show you this mountain here.
Oh, smokes, look at that.
We've got another flicker on the camera. That's to remind us of the 5 finger and the water that we took on.
And there's the river. And there's our aggressive paddlers. There's Bob over on the other side. Got his shades on. So Bob.
It's a sweeper. And we're home. Paddle us clear, boys. Paddle us clear.
That's enough for this hour.
You escaped the river this hour.
It was a bit of excitement. We had a tiny little bit of a sweeper here. But the boys handled it very well. Bob's tenting up right now. Hi, Bob.
They give Glenn a little shade.
Oh,
This is Glenn having his nap.
yeah. Oh,
First time we've
he
seen
covered
that.
his face.
It's me under here.
Glenn's gone for the duration until we shout out, Hell's Gate ahead.
Whoa. Look at the women you get through when you Pass the pics over, man. Color brochures and everything.
Pretty pictures.
Oh, there's some real good ones here. Midnight Sun Hotel. The most famous barbecue.
Hi, Bob.
Bob's sailing.
Oh, that's not Bob.
I'm Bill.
Hi.
Hey, Pat.
Where are you going here? Oh, that's me that's going.
We're heading to Fort Selkirk for a little culture, a little history lesson.
Uh-huh. Same as
the
the...
Stampeders went up to the gold fields, just
Maybe.
like this, 100 years ago.
Thank you for coming along on the 30 miles of the Yukon River, one of the most famous parts on the Yukon River. We had a great time. We hope you did too. And catch us on series number 2, number 3, number 4. That will complete the Yukon trip. We then will be going to Myrtle Lake, West Arm, and then the North Arm. See you again. But we're going to be on the Yukon for a while yet.